Okay, here's the last video on this. As showed in the other videos, this is the motor, and it's got a dual deck. This is that Sony stereo cassette deck WE305, TCWE305. And I got this one accurate. And so today, play-by-play, I guess, and taking this motor off of this and putting the bands on there. I wish I had some sort of way to hold the camera, or, but I don't. So anyway, and I looked into, the trim pots earlier in the other videos. That's how you adjust that. And I'll give you a demonstration a little bit later on. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take this motor off of there and see if I can get it a little bit more accurate. So stand by. Okay, so I've taken the motor off. There's the motor. Little bitty screw right there that holds that motor in. Don't want to lose that. And now you can see the bands, the belts. You can get that to focus. Yeah, you can see one belt there. And then there's another belt that goes on the motor itself that attaches to the big wheel there. So this wheel spins, and that's what controls the tape speed. And so I made a statement that the bands might be a little too tight. So what I'm going to do is change those out. And I've already kind of selected which ones I'm going to give a demonstration with. And hopefully I can get this to be more accurate to pitch. Because this is a dual deck, you want to be able to play it back. And then this side's going to be able to record the actual reproduction of the music. So, you want it to work. Okay, so far what I've done is I took these this tight band off of there. I'm not going to mess with the other side because it's perfect. But it's got too much tension on it. So what I opted to do was give it a little bit more play with this. And hopefully I'm thinking, this correctly. Let me turn it around, see if we can get in there. But we can see as I turn that other wheel is turning. So that's what's going on there is you got two bands on this thing. One that controls the inner wheel, all that mechanism that turns that gear down there. I can see that now. I know you can't see all this, but once I put the other band around this motor, it's going to go and attach itself to this wheel also. So there's two grooves down in on that spinning wheel. So I put the motor back on. It's got two bands on there, and hopefully that gives me a little more play. I can turn that a little more freely on that side than I can on that side. So hopefully that's going to make it where that motor can spin a little more freely, get the tape speed a little faster, which is what's necessary to make this work. Okay, so turning that down a little bit, you can hear the pitch. That this was what it was. It's in G. Well, it's not right there, but it's in the key of G when I wrote this song. And so this is the tape that I can use to kind of gauge things. So this is the right side. And I just put it back together, and it's not fixed yet. But anyway, I wanted to make this segment of this video just to prove that that's way off. And I tried to adjust the trim pots like I did before. And so I'm going to play around with it, see if I can get it accurate. Anyway, this is not correct. All right, to sum things up, I used some different bands, rubber bands is what these are really. And, you know, once you put them on a tape deck, I guess they're called belts. And they control these motors. I put a lighter tension on this one right here next to my finger. And actually, I think I put a light one on there too. So I've got 2 blue bands on this thing, whereas I use black, which are these smaller ones. So that right there is what I got on the left side, and it worked out. But with these bands, they're a little bit lengthier, you know, about like that, I guess, and less tension. So whatever works, you know, that's what you got to do is experiment with it. Anyway, the whole tale of the story is this, and if I play the right side of this, I took a tuner and matched it, and it's close enough to G. One of my guitars is a little out of tune, so pretty close to G. Yep, this guitar is in G, so that's the right side. That was the side I did not have to go back and adjust. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this tape now and put this in, and it matches now. Pretty close. So that's what we have, folks. I have matched the players to play in the correct key. Pretty cool. All right, let me rewind this again one more time. So they're accurate. They're as accurate as you can get them. And I just wanted to prove one thing as I do this. Hope I didn't go too far. Whoops. Now there's the deal. See, the band is a little too, that's going to have to be fixed. So there's an issue with that band being a little bit, a little more tension on there. And so I'm not completely done with it, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. You know that I can adjust the tempo right there again with those pots. Those are trim pots, as I've described on the other video. So I'm going to play around with it a little bit more, but, you know, I'm on the right track. Okay, I figured it out. I got it. It just took some adjusting. You got to have different size bands. And that's what it boils down to. I put I think what I did was, I put a longer one. Of course, you know, you have to do that because it goes from, you know, this inner or this outer wheel, the large wheel, we'll say the large wheel versus the small wheel. The large wheel, get in there and see it. Just can't get in there and see it. There it is. All right, there's the large wheel. That's the one I'm talking about right there. See how that turns everything? Don't get next to that transformer. This thing's plugged in too. See, that's going to control everything. So as I rewind it, that was what the problem was. When I was rewinding, you can see all that spinning now. It was getting into a situation. Now I'm fast forwarding. It was getting into a situation where the band or the belt was coming off of this top wheel, the little wheel. And you can't have that. And it just works out that on this side, I used one of these tiny ones on the upper and lower belts. And with this, I had to kind of play with it. And as far as I know, fast forward a little bit. Didn't want to get into another song. There we go. That's on. So I fixed the left side of this thing. And that's a mandolin that's that sound. And it's got a little bit of effects on it to give it that warbly sound. But that was the one that I was gauging it on. So that's the pitch that is the most accurate, if I remember. Because that's a G. And when I go back and I play this side, it's a little sharp. But now I can adjust that. So I'm going to get in there a little bit fast. And I think it's these inner ones that are both of these work. And I'm using my ear to kind of gauge that. And at this point, and that's where a tuner would come in play if you could get it to capture the sound or get the pitch. If I did that tuner, but it won't pick it. There it goes. It's picking it up now. So that right there is a G. So if I can get that to match that, pretty close. And I'm just using my ear. So one of these is a wow and flutter. And the other one's a pitch, but they both work in tandem. So again, here's the actual reproduction that was going on. That's the right side. Try to memorize what that sounds like. Way better than what I had. All right. So I've accomplished both sides of this thing. I'm going to put the lid on it and call it done. So the moral of the story is, you can try different rubber band tensions and lengths. You just got to play with it till you get it right. And, these packages that I've seen them offer, it's like, $22 for this. And I just fixed this thing for $1.25 is what I did. And it works just as good. And now we're going to listen to it. So here we are. We've got the right side. And the reason I chose this tape is because I want you to be able to hear the pitch. All right, so we got a guesstimation on what that's all about. And we can hear this pretty close to pitch. It rewinds. One thing I had to check, make sure it worked. So there's that G, and I want to leave it to that. Listening for the G note in that. Pretty close. All right, so that's what's going on there. Is I got both sides now repaired on this Sony dual tape deck. And when you record here, it won't be, strange sounding on this side, because you want it to match. If you went from tape to tape, that's how it should work. So you want it to be working the way that it should. That was the original side that was accurate. And there it is. Pretty cool. Got left side and right side the way I want them now.